Good morning, Tom Trento, your host here in our South Florida, the United West Studios, Trento Gold Show, and my co-host.
Good morning, everybody. Susie Gold.
We're here. What a tremendous show today. Very important show. So at the outset, send the link if you're on our YouTube page, youtube.com/the United West. If you're on that page, make a copy, send it to your friends. Got a couple of minutes before our special guest comes in. He was on yesterday, but today's a very detailed analysis of our subject. So start sending it out to your friends to watch. If you're on our United West page, if they got in, sometimes
if you see warning, don't log in. Something can happen to your computer. Don't believe it. This is just a way of censoring us.
Big tech shutting us down.
Yeah, but nothing will happen to your computer, and you can log in.
Our special guest is here.
Our special guest is here. And before we get to our special guest, I got Susie Gold here. We got Jay Mark. We got, what do we have a name for the other person there?
Yeah, that's Rosie.
Rosie. Yeah, we got Rosie over here. We got Rosie and Susie. We're in Washington, D.C. on January 6th, wreaking havoc. Just standing there taking pictures.
We were there.
Georgia. Don't forget Georgia.
That's right.
Coming. Yep.
Mary in Georgia.
We got Monty over here, our intern, wide awake, alert, ready to go.
We work them hard, but we do give them a lunch break.
Yeah, 16-year-olds are like that. And then quarterbacking the team, steering the ship, whatever metaphor we want to use. We have Mary up in Georgia. Good morning, Mary.
We could not run this show without Mary.
No.
Mary works behind the scenes, but she does all of the legwork to make sure that this show can air.
We call what we do edutainment. Anybody know why we call it edutainment?
Edutainment. Yeah, you want me to answer that
question? Go ahead.
We are educating,
I got all day.
And many people, actually everybody that I speak to, they say the kind of news that you get on this show is like none other. You will not hear the type of information that we share on major networks or anywhere on TV. And what we're doing is we bring in subject matter experts from all over the world and some very prominent people, just like the guests that we have today, so that we get firsthand information on what is going on in America, what's going on in the world. We did cover the war that Gaza waged on and Hamas waged on Israel. We covered it every single day. So you will get news here that you won't get anywhere else.
Crazy. But we do have something new today, Susie. We've literally have done thousands of shows like this. But we have something new today. We have a script.
This is unbelievable. We are so prepared.
We have a script.
Because of you.
We have a script, and will we follow it? Let's take a bet.
No.
But we'll try.
But you'll see us on our laptops. You'll see us on our phones. And what we're doing is we're gathering. We have people working behind the scenes that send us text, sends us information. They also send us videos. So that's why you're getting firsthand information, and you're getting cutting edge information, and that which is just newly released.
And
we're very tiny.
Oh, and we're entertaining, right? I didn't finish. Yes, we're educating and we're entertaining, because you know what? It should be fun to learn.
Our sparkling personalities bring that across. Yeah, look, this is tough stuff, and we do tough stuff, but you got to have a light element. We make jihad fun.
There are a lot of people that say they walk around depressed. They say, I don't watch the news because I don't want to get depressed. Yeah. And you know what? We have to be educated. We have to be knowledgeable on what's going on, because every single person can have an influence. Now, and we show you how.
Now, this is the entertainment part. It's over. Now we go to the education part. How about that?
Okay.
A big idea. We always like to have a big idea, something very tangible that our viewers can hang on to, take away from your experience. We take it very seriously. You're spending time with us each day, and the big idea is an interesting series of words. Hamas. It's the subject matter today. Hamas in Israel. Is Hamas in America? Is Hamas in the Biden administration? Now, Susie Gold, what was the common word to all three of those, to Israel, to America, and to Biden?
I love when you ask me these easy questions. Yeah. So It's
Mark wants to
okay.
answer.
It's, you want to answer, Mark? Please.
What?
Genocidal Jew-hating maniacs.
Okay.
Yeah, Hamas.
Yeah, Hamas.
Hamas. This is the common threat.
But that
They
big-
are a terrorist organization.
But that big idea kind of presupposes that we know that the Hamas is in Israel. We were watching them bomb.
That's
Israel.
right.
It presupposes that they're in America and they're in the Biden administration, but our special guest, we'll get to in a moment, is going to establish from a factual evidentiary point of view, Hamas is in America, Hamas is in the Biden administration. But here's the subcategory to the big idea. Hamas in Israel is dedicated, committed to killing Jewish families. Not sharing hummus, not having to killing with bombs and missiles and knives and whatever you jihadi lions can do, killing Jewish families. Hamas in the United States isn't at that point totally yet, but they're committed to, they're dedicated to killing Jewish freedom. So killing Jewish families in Israel, killing Jewish freedom in the United States. Then you come to the Biden administration, and Hamas in the Biden administration is dedicated to killing the future of Jews, the Jewish future, by what the Biden administration is doing. Those are some
But
pretty
not
large
just
statements.
Jews. I mean, we're talking about Christians. We're talking about really the
Yeah, but
destruction
the
of
Hamas
America.
has you first.
Yeah, we're first,
Christians are
Christians
second.
next, and then the rest of the world.
Time
And
out.
they did say that they wanted to destroy us from the inside out, meaning to get within, and you'll
Councilmen, they're on local levels, and then they're also in the government and destroy us from the inside out.
You had
Point
something.
of contention here, Tom. No, I disagree with you on there's something different about the ones here. They are supporting the genocidal Jew-hating maniacs in Gaza. So if you support the genocidal Jew, you are a genocidal Jew-hating maniac in America.
We'll let our
I'm sorry.
expert,
yeah,
and
and John will shed light.
is between strategy and tactics. So John will explain what the difference is with the Hamas shooting Katyusha rockets as a strategy and the tactics here in the United States. But obviously the ideology is the same.
Right. And I
Why
have
don't
the
you bring on
honor,
our,
I have the honor of introducing John Guandolo. He's our special guest today. He's a national security expert. He's a subject matter expert focused on the Muslim Brotherhood, the Islamic doctrine, and the global Islamic movement. He served, just as a way of history and background information, he served in the Marine Corps, and he's also a former FBI
Hoorah.
agent. He's the founder of Understanding the Threat. But before we get to John will be exclusively on our show today because there's so much information that we're covering. And John, being the expert that he is, will shed light on the subject. But prior to him joining the show, I just want to reference an article. And if you could put that up, Mark. Okay, so this article was on
I-24 News.
I-24 News, which is really, if you want to get accurate information about what's going on in Israel and around the world, I-24, they broadcast out of Israel. So there's an article. You can go on I-24 and you could see live news, and you can also read their articles. So this particular article that I'm referencing is from just 2 days ago. The title is Hamas co-founder denies firing rockets from civilian areas and says that Israel has no right to exist. What a great peace partner to have. His name is Mahmoud al-Zahar. And he said that the Israel-Gaza ceasefire will hold for now. So, they have no intention of stopping. You could read this article. They have no intention of stopping this war that they waged on Israel to destroy the state. This is not about land. This is not about a piece of territory. What they sing and what they say and how they are trained is to send the Jews into the sea, from the river to the sea. When they say free Palestine, what they're referencing is that all Jews will be in the sea. They will be gone, all of Israel. So you have to know that, and you have to share that with your friends and all the people that you speak to.
And the article that Susie's referencing falls under our title, Hamas in Israel is Hamas in America is Hamas in the Biden administration. Well, this is Hamas in Israel. They want to kill Jewish families. We established
That's
that
it.
point. Then there's an article Fox News had, protests break out all around the United States. We've seen that for the past week. Palestinian groups all over the place. John's going to bring us into one with Allan West in a little bit. And there's attacks by Palestinians against Jews, particularly Orthodox Jews, in Beverly Hills, in New York, in Chicago, everywhere. And then what else? We have
So there's another article that's, so now you say, okay, well, this war occurred in the Middle East. That's just them over there, but it's not. They are over here. And there's another article. We know that there were many protests, even where in Boca Raton and even throughout South Florida. There were in Meisner Park, there were several hundred. They're not Palestinians. There was no such land that was such a sovereign state. It was either Jordan or it was the other neighboring countries. It was the Ottoman Empire that was so-called Palestine. Palestine's a Roman word. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. But the point is that there were many protests that were in
all over
America.
the country. Yeah.
So what do they stand for? And why were they waving the Palestinian flag?
And what does all this
flag?
stuff mean? That's the main thing. And we have with us an expert to take everything we just told you and put it into perspective. And we want to welcome our dear friend, John Guandolo. Hi, John. Welcome to the show.
Thanks very much. Great for having me. And I'm glad I finally found your tagline. Under the United West, making jihad fun.
There you go. There you go.
That's the line of the entire show. I have got nothing more to add.
We learned at the font of your knowledge. So you put out an email the other day, an expose, and from that we put the show together. So we want to go through that, but take a moment or two to just reflect on our opening information.
Well, I think when we talk about the whole situation, I often say, and I want it to be a little tongue in cheek, but it's really not. You know, what do we call the West Bank and Gaza? People that know geography call it Israel. You know, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Israelis and Israeli leaders actually allowing people who have openly stated, as in your opening monologue you articulated, they want to destroy Israel and kill all the Jews. And the Israelis are giving them a special place to live within their own country. I think there's no, on the one sense, it shows the amazing grace that the Israelis are showing these people, despite the fact they want to kill them. But it also shows the stark contrast. So you've got that. The other thing is, to me, it highlights that you have to understand Sharia Islamic law, which is Allah's divine law, which says you only enter into a ceasefire if you're in a position of weakness, because it's a grave matter to cease the jihad when you have the upper hand. So again, in all of these things, knowing their blueprint for why they're fighting, which is Sharia, is critical to understanding these current events.
Yeah, John, you're the founder and president, former special agent with the FBI, of understanding the threat. And folks, much of what we pulled out in our opening came from this expose that John put out. We want to start by putting a map up of the Dallas area, and an event took place there last week. We'll put the map up. You described the geography. You spoke about the geography at in Israel, and now we're moving into the United States to see if the Hamas, if they're here, and if if they're a little different than the guys in Israel. Explain the geography, and there's an interesting city that'll pop up right close to where this event was that Allan West was at. Set up the Allan West video, and when you're done putting that together, we'll play the video.
Well, I appreciate you doing this. So for those not familiar with the Dallas area, 635 is the highway that basically forms a circle around Dallas. And Preston Road is one of the major roads that runs north-south and intersects into 635, and it should be right where you've got marked off. Now, what's interesting is just north of where we're talking about, and a little bit to the east is Richardson, which is a very Jihadi, literally right near where you've got marked off on there. It's just not showing up on your map. Richardson is right there, kind of where
To the east.
just to the east of where you've got that Preston Valley
Mark-
Shopping Center.
Mark's working the map. You got to the east is to the right, Mark, to the right.
Yeah. So kind of in between Garland and Preston Valley Shopping Center, you've got Richardson. It's a very heavy jihadi area. To the east and a little bit north of Dallas, you can see Irving. That's a very heavy jihadi area. And you've got pockets around the Dallas area. But what we found in Carrollton, in Plano, in Allen, in Garland, there are Muslim Brotherhood organizations, there are Hamas organizations set up. And in Arlington, it's everywhere. And we did, understanding the threat, we did a report last August called The Takedown of Texas, where we looked at the Islamic and the communist movements and just took a snapshot of key leaders, key organizations, and explained it. And we have given it to some senior leaders, and it's only about a 20-page publication, and their heads exploded. They had no idea how bad the situation was in the DFW area specifically, but also across Texas, in Austin, in Houston, in El Paso, in San Antonio. It's unbelievable. So this, for those of us that work this, what's happening here in Dallas just in the last month or so is not surprising, but it was these couple big events, including Allan West's, the report he sent out and the rally that they had for the pro-Israel rally, and the response is what prompted the report, because we had numerous things happening, which I know we're going to cover here.
So, John, we heard about the Holy Land Foundation. Where was that located?
So the Holy Land Foundation was in the area of Richardson, Texas. And what's interesting is in the late 80s, the International Muslim Brotherhood put out an order to every country, to the leadership of the Muslim Brotherhood, where they had a significant presence. And at the time, that was about 80 plus countries around the world, including the United States. So the US Muslim Brotherhood, per the orders of the International Muslim Brotherhood, established the Palestine Committee. That is Hamas in the United States. And the chairman of the Palestine Committee was Musa Abu Marzouk. And the US Muslim Brotherhood's Palestine Committee, right, established initially 3 organizations: the United Association for Studies and Research, the Islamic Association of Palestine, and the Occupied Land Fund, which was renamed the Holy Land Foundation. All are Hamas organizations, all shut down by the US government. The 4th was created in 1994, and that is the Council on American Islamic Relations, which somehow continues to be allowed to operate in the United States, but that is Hamas doing business as CAIR. And so that was located, the Holy Land Foundation in Richardson. What is it? I think there are a few really important points. Number one, the Holy Land Foundation was the largest Islamic charity in America at the time it was indicted in November 2001, right after September 11th. So it was the largest Islamic charity, and it's a Hamas front organization. That data point, I think, is very important. And the other thing is the story you ran yesterday about the woman who's the attorney for Holy Land Foundation, now, of course, deeply involved in the Department of Defense to root out, quote, extremism. Well, she's a player for the Hamas movement. So when she roots out extremists, she's going to be rooting out patriots inside the DOD and inside the military. So once you understand the history behind the movement, their networks, current events start to make a lot more sense, including what's going on in Dallas right now.
Well, a couple of things have taken place since the Holy Land, 2008, 2009. And for our audience, it's 9:23 in the morning. Tom Trento here. Susie Gold, we got our team. We got John Guandolo, our special guest. We're live. So you can take the little link, send it to your friends, have them tune in. We got a lot of material to cover. Basically, you set up a 501c3. They set these nonprofits up. You donate money, and the money goes to a charity like the United West. And we build rockets in here.
But we're a good charity.
We build bombs in here. Oh, wait a minute. That's the other charity. The money got shipped over to the Hamas in the Gaza Strip, and they built bombs and guns and were killing Jews. And a bunch of people went to jail. Five people went to jail. There were over 300 people identified for future indictment. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not, CAIR was one of those organizations. But also, Mark, if you can put that map back up, we traveled on May 3rd, 2015 to the Curtis Colwell Convention Center. We were live streaming, we, the United West, we had a team of 5 people. We were live streaming the Draw Mohammed contest that Pamela Geller was putting on. And by quick review, January of that year, the Islamic jihadis went into Paris and killed 12 people at Charlie Hebdo, the satirical magazine that made fun of Christians, Jews, everybody. Well, you don't make fun of Islam from their point of view. Killed them. A week later, there was an event at the Curtis Colwell Convention Center. This is the end of January 2015, to honor the prophet that just energized the killing of 12 people in Paris. So there was a protest of about 2,000 people. Pamela was there. Damon was there from our organization, Alan Kornman. And Pamela Geller had the idea, we need to have one on here expressing freedom, drawing the prophet. So we go May 3rd, 2015. And John, if you know the geography of Texas, and we'll put that map back up. If you know the geography of Texas, just to the east of Dallas is a little town called Garland. And if Mark could show the people where that is, that's where the Curtis Colwell Convention Center is. And while we were in there expressing the benefits of the First Amendment, people submitting their drawings, I don't know, here, multiple choice, John. 2 people drove up to the convention center, came out in full body armor, sidearms, and AR-15s, and start shooting at the cops and shooting at the building. Now, those were Catholic nuns. B, Mormons riding on their bicycles. Or C, you fill in the blank, John.
Well, actually, they were jihadis.
Yay, you got it right. So
It's tough though, all the Mormons running around blowing themselves up. It's hard to keep track.
And on their
it's hard
bicycles.
to keep
On their bicycle.
Talk about the Amish people, man.
Robbie,
Oh, those Amish, they cause so much havoc.
you ruined another bicycle, Robbie. What are you doing? In any event, at that intersection on 635, dear friend of ours, Allan West, former congressman right here from our district, who's in Texas now. Man, you guys stole Allan from us.
Yeah.
He's the head of the Republican Party there. He went out, as he's done with us many times, to be there, standing as a force against this,
Hey, greetings, everyone.
this horrible event.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, we got ready to play. Ready?
Yeah.
All right, hold on.
He went and wanted to observe what was going on and listen to him. You'll see.
Hold on. Wait. Speed up quickly. Okay.
Greetings, everyone. Lieutenant Colonel Allan West, the chairman of the Republican Party of Texas. I'm here in Dallas, right off of I-635 and Preston Road, to have a rally to support Israel, who is under a designated terrorist organization called Hamas. But look across the street. What do you see across the street? You actually see people here in Dallas, Texas, that support a terrorist organization. And when you think about what happened in the United States House of Representatives today, every single Democrat voted against sanctioning any country that is supporting Iran, the #1 state sponsor of Islamic terrorism and the #1 sponsor and supporter of Hamas, of Hezbollah, of Islamic Jihad, Al-Quds, Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade. But I just want you to know, we did not see that in the United States of America. Why? Because we had someone in the White House that stood with Israel. We had someone in the White House that brought together Israel and those Arab nations, because they understand in the Middle East peace through strength. They understand determination, will, and they understand might. So I'm here, and I got to tell you, I stand with Israel because I've had to fight against terrorist organizations before. Al-Qaeda, ISIS, all of them. I do not want to see this overtake the great state of Texas. But this is what is happening here in the Lone Star State. So wake up, Texas. Wake up, America. You've got people here. BLM came out and said that they support terrorist organization Hamas. Look at all of those flags over there. How many American flags do you see across the street? I don't think you see that many. So wake up, everybody, and understand that the enemy is not at the gates, they're inside the gates. God bless Texas. God bless America. God bless Israel.
Amen. Amen. Now, for our audience just watching this, some of you may be not familiar with Allan West. Very brief background. Combat veteran, airborne, U.S. Army, retired lieutenant colonel. I think it was 2006 or so. He was in, I think it was Iraq, and his guys were going out on patrol, and they had captured a jihadi, and they're trying to get information as to where IEDs may be, what's going on as they're about to leave the base. And the guy was, you will never get information from me. Allan pulls out his 9mm and says, I'm serious. We got a lot of stuff to do here. I'm not getting my men hurt. And yeah. So Allan points the gun at him and pulls the trigger. Boom! But right next to his head. Mm-hmm. And the guy goes, okay. He tells them what's going on, and Allan was able to complete the mission with his friends not dying. They found where the problems were. Well, that got reported back to command, and Allan was essentially thrown out of the Army for doing that. And the big battle, and all of America came in to defend him. Yeah, you're in battle. You got a deadbeat guy,
And you got to do what you need to do to get information to save our lives.
He didn't shoot the guy, just scared him. And what came out of it was, with all the pressure from all the conservatives, the government relented and allowed Allan to retire with his pension. But he had to leave. He got thrown out.
Unbelievable.
That led to him moving to Florida, which led to him running for U.S. Congress, and now he's out there. John, what's taking place? What is Allan talking? There's no U.S. flags on the Palestinian side. What's that all about?
No, he said there weren't many. There were none. We had folks. We had folks that were out there, and Allan is right. It should be shocking, I would say, to the average Dallas resident, and people we've talked to are shocked. But people that we work with and people that have been through our training, they're not shocked because they know there are jihadis all over the Dallas area. I mean, the fact, jihadis showed up in Garland, Texas. We have all kind. In our report, and I do encourage people, go to understandingthethreat.com, go to the resources, and there's the reports section, and it's called The Takedown of Texas. You can get a PDF, you can download it. But just look at some of the recent events in Texas and some of the key leaders here. and what they're doing around the country. There is a massive jihadi network here. So that's what Allan West is talking about. Allan understands. He's read the report that we put out. He understands the threat. He's been in combat against these guys. So there is a very serious jihadi threat in Texas, especially in DFW. And I want to say something, and I know for you all, this will have an impact. Our assessment is the worst area in the country for the joint jihadi and communist threat is Houston, Texas. And the difference between places like Dearborn and Minneapolis and Houston is that it hasn't popped in Houston yet. But you've got a massive infrastructure for the jihadi network in Houston and a massive infrastructure for the communist threat in Houston, including senior leaders down there, the mayor, the police chief, and others. And it's just being totally ignored.
John, you put out this expose, and we want to go through it, but you just kind of frightened us and the viewers talking about the lovely town of Houston being impacted with really, really bad guys. Let's take that apart a little bit. What's your evidence, Mr. Guandolo?
Well, the networks down there, first of all, the leadership in the Southwest for the Communist Party is hubbed in Texas, and the headquarters for Communist Party Texas is in Houston. And they've got the biggest infrastructure, and working with, some of our colleagues just on the communist side, like Trevor Loudon and others. And we did some work, and some of that is in the report about the communist network in Houston, which is significant. On the jihadi side, you have got a massive infrastructure in Houston from both the Muslim Brotherhood side and the Iranian, the Shia side. I mean, we had, and it's documented in the report, a couple of years ago at the Islamic Education Center in Houston, they actually held a celebration celebrating the Ayatollah Khamenei in 2019, where the students were talking about how they wanted to be jihadis and serve in the jihad for the sake of Allah. And this was published. And then Memory TV took the video and published it. And we have, understanding the threat, when we published this, prior to publishing this article, we put all this together and sent it to the governor of Texas and the attorney general, asking them for comment. And what are they going to do? Are they investigating, for instance, the people that came out and stood on a street corner and said, we stand with Hamas in killing Israelis? Are they opening investigations? I can tell you our sources inside of DPS say they're not. So you put all this together of what's going on in Houston, as well as these current events. And the leadership of Texas, the attorney general and the governor, have been grossly negligent. They're doing nothing to deal with this network.
All right. Hey, folks, Tom Trento here, 936 with Susie Gold and Spiritual Society. Ayatollah Khomeini. Unbelievable.
Unreal.
It always hits me like you go into Iran and try to have
Yeah, right.
the Donald Trump birthday celebration society, which his birthday's in a
Wait,
couple of
try and
weeks.
be a Jew and go to any
Go anywhere,
number of
yeah.
Arab. We're not allowed in there. Is that
That's
unbelievable?
crazy. What
Not
we're
that
doing,
I would want to
folks,
go
it's
there anyway.
9:36 in the morning. Susie Gold, Tom Trento here, Trento Gold Show, our whole staff. Special guest, John Guandolo. Our big idea is that Hamas in Israel is Hamas in America, is Hamas in the Biden administration. We're now in the Hamas in America. John's laying out the networks for us. You had a question,
Yeah, I
and
have
then
a-
Mark has a question.
Okay, John, I have a question about Sharia law, and we know that that is the ultimate, one of the many goals of Hamas, of the Arabs, is to ensure that the whole world follows Sharia law, which is their own playbook as to how we should live our lives. So where does Texas stand in terms of, implementing that, because they're in government, they're everywhere, as we've already said. So where do they stand in Texas with regard to Sharia law?
Well, it's interesting. Number one, the leaders in Texas that we've talked to, the legislators, literally only a handful have any idea of how serious this is. We had the case when Beth Van Dyne was the mayor of Irving. They have a Sharia court that exists there. Their website is still up. These people that have said there's nothing to worry about, and the individuals running it, these are senior legal jurists. These are two of them are Al-Azhar graduates, which is Al-Azhar in Egypt, the oldest and highest authority in Sunni Islamic law. And here they are in Irving, Texas, running a Sharia court. And of course, she exposed that and created a national news story because, of course, you can't speak truth about Islam or they threatened to kill you, which they did. And of course, they ran political operations against her as well. So we've got that. In the article, I mentioned a case in Collin County up near Plano where the judge, Andrea Thompson, takes a divorce case of a Muslim man and his wife.
The divorce.
And allows the case, and she orders it. She rules in favor of the husband's motion to use the Islamic prenuptial agreement and send the case to, and in the judge's words in the order, the quote, Muslim court or fiqh panel. Fiqh, of course, in Islam is jurisprudence. So she's sending it back to the council, which is going to adjudicate this per Islamic law. And there's the ruling right there on the screen out of Collin County, Texas. This is a very conservative area of Texas. And the judge is a Republican judge. And this was adjudicated on March 24th of this year. So just, a couple months ago. So these are the kinds of things that are percolating in Texas, where Sharia is being adjudicated.
Don't we have what's that thing called? U.S. Constitution. The U.S. Constitution that says you can't use any laws but American
law
for American courts, isn't that?
And I want to jump in there and say this because Susie just mentioned this. If you look at what first graders are taught in Islamic schools, 7th graders, 10th graders, what they teach at the highest schools of Islamic jurisprudence, Sunni and Shia, the stated purpose of Islam is to impose Allah's divine law, Sharia, on every human on earth. That's it. That's the purpose of Islam. And when you understand that, and you see what Al-Qaeda and ISIS and Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood and the Iranian government, etc., all say they're working to do, they're working to do that. And we have the textbooks.
Hang on, I got
Oh, okay.
This is good television now. Watch how this works, everybody. John, if what you're saying is true, at some point, the state of Texas maybe even would want to take a Muslim holiday and make it a state holiday.
They would?
Maybe. I don't know. What do you think?
We'll throw that to you, John.
Well, interesting that you bring that up. Right now, in the Texas Senate is a bill, originally House Bill 1231, which passed committee 9-2, has passed the Texas State House, is sitting in the Budget and Commerce Committee in Texas, which would make Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha, by the way, Texas state holidays. Now, for those people that don't know, because if you talk to your local imam, he'll tell you Eid al-Fitr is just the celebration at the end of Ramadan. And it celebrates our ability to eat once again and to celebrate Ramadan. Well, that's a bunch of bull crap. What Eid al-Fitr is, because Muhammad is the perfect example in Islam, is after the Hijrah, when the Muslims went from Mecca to Medina, there was a battle, the Battle of Badr. And after the Battle of Badr, they celebrate Eid al-Fitr, which was the first Islamic military victory over non-Islamic forces. That's what Eid al-Fitr is. And if you actually dig, you can actually find it on the internet on Islamic sites if you actually do your homework, but it's not what they tell the non-Muslim population. It's something very different, but they tell us that it's simply, to celebrate the end of Ramadan.
Mark, so Rosie, when John was saying that there's a possible Muslim holiday that'll be a state holiday in Texas, you looked a little perplexed. Welcome to Galveston. Yeah, Mark, you had a question for John.
Yeah, John, let me bring my audio up here.
Yeah, John, I just wanted to highlight the fact that what you're saying, that these guys are Hamas in Texas, that they're actually supporting. I mean, the whole CAIR organization, and Tom, behind you is the screen that says it was founded by Musa Abu Marzouk, the deputy chief of Hamas. And Omar Ahmed and Jihadi Awad were actually officers in his foundation company of the Palestinian Committee. Now, why did they form this? I think is really important to highlight, is because if you go all the way back to 1995, that's when they formed the Palestinian Committee, was 1995. What was happening back then? Well, you had Bill Clinton, who was trying to get the Oslo Accords passed. And when he got the Oslo Accords passed, these people in Palestine said, no, this is a horrible, horrible thing. So they formed a Palestinian Committee to fight Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton said, who's the head of this Palestine Committee? They said, who's trying to derail my Oslo Accords? They said, well, this guy, Musa Abu Marzouk. Bill said, well, what can we do about it? They said, nothing. They said, well, how about if we make him a specially designated terrorist? He was the first specially designated terrorist by Bill Clinton. So they know that these guys are terrorists. And George Bush actually made it later, said it's a specially designated global terrorist later. But he was the first one to be designated a terrorist by Bill Clinton. So the left knows these guys are terrorists. So all this BS, they don't know they're terrorists, is a bunch of garbage. They know it, and they're siding with them now. That's my point I wanted to make.
I appreciate you making that point. I'm sorry that you didn't make it with any passion or energy.
John,
no, I want to say something on that point, because Mark brings up a great point. Is in 1994, so PALCOM, the Palestinian Committee, was created on the order of the International Muslim Brotherhood, and as I mentioned earlier, they created 4 organizations, CAIR being the last. But the FBI actually covered the meeting in Philadelphia in 1993, where Palestinian Committee leaders, meaning Hamas leaders in the US, met in Philadelphia. And Omar Ahmed and Jihadi Awad were in these meetings, recorded by the FBI that put microphones in the meeting rooms. The FBI did physical surveillance, and they tapped their phones. And these guys, when they were meeting, said, we need to create an organization to be a new public relations group for Hamas, because Hamas was no longer selling in the United States. And they created CAIR in 1994. That's how this works. So we know who CAIR is. In another, there are numerous Hamas front groups in the United States today, and groups that are working to propel the Hamas movement. So there are student groups, numerous student groups that are pro-Hamas, but one of the groups that has gained significant prominence is a group called Emgage, E-M-G-A-G-E. And Emgage, which came from Emerge USA, grew out of that. One of their co-founders from Florida, Karam Wahid, who used to be the director of CAIR down there and a leader in CAIR in Florida, Hamas, was the co-chair now of Engage, and Engage is a Hamas organization. Well, who testified on behalf of House Bill 1231 in Texas was Engage. And there we've got the list of them testifying, and we have people that were there when they testified on behalf of this bill to make Eid al-Fitr a state holiday. So these things, then you have to ask, why would Hamas do this? Because as you all know, this war, the entire global war, 80 to 90% of the war is in the propaganda battle space. It's in the information battle space. And the more that they chip away, both in Israel, in the United States, in Europe, and they control the message of how we understand Islam and how we understand Hamas, that's where they win. And I would say the fact that this bill didn't get laughed out of committee and these people weren't told to go jump off a bridge shows you how weak the state legislators are in Texas, how weak the attorney general, lieutenant governor, and governor's office are. And they've still made no comment on any of this. Not to mention, by the way, the Jihadi network in Texas that they've done nothing about.
It's amazing. It's like that. Throw them a bone, give them a little holiday. Who cares? You know, take our holiday away, Columbus Day, but throw these guys a warrior victory holiday.
And this just empowers them.
It
You know, it's
empowers
another
them.
way that they're infiltrating, and it's also another way to move, you know, that they can move themselves and
public opinion.
integrate
Yeah.
themselves more within our society. You know, it's frightening. I mean, you know, go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna have a hard stop at 10 o'clock. We got to get to the Hamas in Israel, it's Hamas in America, now to Hamas in the Biden administration. But John referenced the meeting in Philadelphia in 1994 where CAIR had to do a public relations for the Hamas. In that internal meeting that we have the transcript, we have the audio for a lot of that. Yeah, we have the audio. We've been doing this, and Guandolo has been doing this for a while. They used the code name in there because they didn't want to say Hamas. They don't want to say that, so use the code name. Here's the code name that they used. Can you see that? Sama. Rosie, the code name they used was SAMAH. These are brilliant operatives. You have any idea what Sama means?
Put it in a
She figured it
She
out.
went like
Are you
this.
an FBI analyst? She goes, it's backwards. It's Hamas backwards. It's Hamas backwards. John, when you were in the FBI, ran across stuff like that. Did you laugh?
Yes. What's amazing to me is this stuff is so simple to put this all together. And I feel like my role in this entire movement is actually just been, from both my experience in the FBI and the DOD, is to just put these pieces together and show them to people. And what's amazing is your average local police officer, your average citizen looks at the evidence and says, well, this is easy. I'm sure the FBI is all over this. And you're like, no,
Right.
no, they're not. Today,
Right.
last 5-10 years, they're not.
Well, one of the reasons why they're not is our next segment for the show. Mark, right here. Biden brings, and we touched on this yesterday, John, we want to dig a little more deeply. Biden brings in Islamic activities to investigate
Activists.
Islamic activists to investigate U.S. military for extremism.
What a great group to bring. It's brilliant. If you're an idiot.
Mark, did I send you? I think I sent you the list of the names. Let's put that on. Yeah, let me see if I sent it to you. John, we're going to put the list of the people that are on this group. You can start talking, explaining the group, John, and then we'll put the list up of the people who are on there, and then you can read off the names. If you read Arabic, you can read off the names to us. Yeah, it's the last thing I sent you, Mark. Put that up.
All right, go ahead.
John, help us understand how Hamas in Israel is Hamas in America, now Hamas in the Biden administration.
Well, there are a couple of things I want to, even before we dive into this, I want to just say Joe Biden's National Islamic Advisor, and I wasn't aware that a presidential candidate needed such a person, but apparently they do, was the same guy that was Hillary Clinton's National Islamic Advisor, whose name is Farouk Mitha. And Farouk Mitha and his father, Amin Mitha, are on the board of Hamas doing business as Mgage. And there's a great picture of Joe Biden and Farouk Mitha. And what's interesting is Joe Biden gave that famous speech that you guys actually covered on one of your shows. And when he said he was speaking to Mgage's national conference, and he said, if I'm elected president, here's what I'm going to do. And he thanked Mgage. And within the first 15 seconds of the speech, he said, we've got to teach more Islam in U.S. public schools.
Yep.
And you see, these things happen when you have a Hamas guy who's your National Islamic Advisor. So what you're talking about here is, I think, devastating. But you have to understand, Mr. Biden, long before he was inaugurated, he was already completely compromised by Hamas and other jihadis.
Well, I just want to reiterate the point that they know this. It's not something that's, they know this. They know they're Hamas. They know they're linked to terrorism. It's intentional. Right. Bill Clinton, all the way back in '94, knew it. This is not ignorance that they, oh, no, they're a little peaceful. No, they know they're terrorists. Just get out of your head that they're actively linking up with terrorists.
Yeah, I think that, Mark, the thing that you're bringing out, which is something we've been talking to folks about, especially in the last 60 to 90 days, is even for people that follow this, that follow the United West, that follow understanding the threat and our friends and allies, and they have a pretty good handle on what's going on, I don't believe they understand the level of corruption, intentional corruption. And I argue that it's criminal negligence, because if you know and don't act, or you don't know and don't act, and Americans die because of that. You know, as I've said for years, we put doctors and lawyers in jail for this kind of conduct. And yet somehow we allow our national security professionals and our elected officials to just get a pass. They do know. These people do know, and they're doing nothing, or worse, which is in most cases, they're actually aiding and abetting these people.
All right, John, talk to us about, you mentioned her yesterday, but this is that, yeah, put the list up. Explain this list, what these people are supposed to do. And I don't know, maybe it's a good thing half the names are Muslim names. Maybe they're a committee to get that holiday in the state of Texas sorted out.
Maybe.
Who are these people and what is their job? And who is Faza Patel?
We have got, you've got quite a list here. So, yeah, you've definitely got a number of bad guys on this list. So first of all, if we start with, the woman mentioned in the article, Hina Shamsi, who works for the ACLU, she worked with the Holy Land Foundation. So you have to raise the question, why would a Muslim work with the Holy Land Foundation if they don't support Hamas? Well, I want to play my own devil's advocate, and the argument could be made that attorneys, for instance, defend people they don't necessarily personally agree with. That's true, but we know that's true. However, the modus operandi in the Islamic movement doesn't operate that way. They don't bring people in who that are Muslim that don't support their cause. They will hire people, like CAIR will hire people as interns and to do other work that may not be fully understanding who CAIR is and what they're doing. But when you put somebody in a leadership position, like Hina Shamsi, for instance, they know exactly what's going on and they're there to support these people. And
Yeah,
now
it's very important for our
calling-
audience to recognize, if you could put that back up for a minute, Mark, this list of people that John is referring to, Hina Shamsi's one of them. This is a working group selected by the President of the United States, and we had to rename what's going on here. We put the name for this. It's Countering Extremism Working Group, CEWG, Subcommittee's Lines of Effort. I'll read just the beginning. The Countering Extremism Working Group would like to partner with experts on counter-extremism and counter-terrorism to better understand the scope of the problem and inform the 90-day report to the Secretary of Defense. So this is a group from academia, from other areas to fight extremism. So far, so good. Where it's something with the Secretary of Defense. Where is this group supposed to be operating, John?
Well, they're supposed to be the original counter-extremism working group. This one is a DoD working group. There is the counter-extremism, countering violent extremism working group inside DHS. So you actually have different groups, and the one inside DHS is as much a disaster as this one is. It might actually be worse.
So this is a group that's in the Department of Defense to go and search out the military to find radicals in the military. And I think John referenced the radicals they're looking for.
Who are they gonna find?
Yeah, are the patriots, the
I
people who
think
take
I don't think they're
stand.
gonna find anybody. What do you
They'll
think?
find somebody.
I do want to say, though, this is very important. Two pieces of this I think are very important legally. Is the word extremist is not legally defined. The word enemy is legally defined. It's in the oath of office. That's why the word enemy is used in the oath of office against all enemies, foreign and domestic. The word extremist still has not been legally defined. Now, over the years, policy has used the word and they've loosely defined it. And as famously we know, I believe it was in 2012 or so, Secretary Napolitano for Department of Homeland Security included returning combat veterans in the lists of extremists, and it made a national news story, and they had to kind of back out of that. But this is the danger with making policy and using language. And this goes back to what I'm saying. When I say they need to control the message, and that in the information realm, our adversaries, both communists and jihadis, control it. This is a great example. They are literally have a combating extremism working group, and there is no legal definition for that word, yet they're discussing how to root out extremists. Now, this is the stuff of communist and tyrannical regimes. That's what this is, and it's important for your viewers to understand this.
And we're going to end on this document right in front. Well, this Countering Extremism Working Group. A couple of thoughts, and then I'm going to ask you to give us a minute closing. I'll say something, and then John, you can close the show. But on this group, folks, again, Hamas in Israel is Hamas in America, is Hamas in the Biden administration, which is why we renamed this group the Team Alawid bin Biden team. Alawid bin Biden. How about that? Team Alawid bin Biden.
Supported by the Hamas caucus.
Yeah, this is Team Alawid bin Biden. NAACP, ACLU, ACLU, SPLC, 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 ACLU, Engage that John mentioned earlier, Sofun Center. 3/4 of these are Islamic organizations that have ties in some way, shape, or form with Hamas. Susie, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, first of all, I just wanted to thank John for coming on again. And, you enlighten our listeners and our viewers. And I appreciate you taking time out of your very busy day. And I think, what I want to share is that there's programming like this that only comes to you because of generous donations. And so that we can continue our shows, we can continue our programming, we really need your donations. And I'd like to make an appeal to everyone to please reach down deep and please donate in any way that you possibly can to theunitedwest.org. Understanding the Threat also operates on donations. So you can go to their website, you will get a wealth of information. And this is information that is not out there. People don't know what is going on. And we serve that purpose in order to make sure people are educated and entertained. So please search and reach deep to give us a donation.
If you want to see John Guandolo, ladies, in a suit, donate to us and we'll have him on all the time, okay?
With the tie.
To the ladies out there, to the ladies.
You know what? He's so brilliant and he's so easy to listen to. And
Yeah,
he's
come
such
on.
a great
You
guy.
see the
He
ladies,
is. And
the
he's a
single
great
ladies,
guy.
all right.
He's an honorable, great guy who has served our country.
Okay. Hey, look, Hamas in Israel is Hamas in America, is Hamas in the Biden administration. The difference, and Mark, you referenced this earlier, isn't one of a strategic difference. All three, Israel, America, Biden, seek the destruction and the containment of Jewish people. That's the focus of the Hamas. And Team Alawid bin Biden's fully compromised on the Islamic issue. And I fear that once they move him out, and the New York Times did a story a couple of days ago saying that he's basically incompetent. He says fits of anger. They always have to put in, well, not as bad as Trump, but he's yelling at people. He needs breaks all the time. This is the New York Times. And the concluding line some people had written was, are they setting him up for the 25th Amendment to move him out?
Yes.
Put her in, and then the jihadi networks come all over the place. John, you got your work cut out for you. It's a difference of tactics in the United States, in the Biden administration, not one of strategy. John, take us out, please.
First of all, I want to say it is really a joy to be on with you all. And I think you're providing a great service. So I would echo what was just said. I do encourage people to support this kind of programming because what you're doing, I think, is invaluable. And I mean that. I think this is a pretty simple thing. If Islam is simple in what it says it wants. What we do at understanding the threat, nobody else is doing. And so what we do is we empower people with the tools to research and identify these hostile networks at the local level and disrupt those and dismantle those networks. And so I do encourage people to go to understandingthethreat.com and join us in this fight. But I agree with what you say often, Tom. It's one team, one fight. We have a number of allies that are all working to educate people and train people and get them in this fight. And I do believe that we have a heck of a fight coming, but right now is the time to be getting trained and getting in the fight. And that's our role at Understanding the Threat. So I encourage people to use all of these resources, yours and ours.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you, John Guandolo,
Thank you,
once
John.
again.
Thanks for having me.
I don't know, should we ask him to stand up, see if he's got his underwear on?
No.
And no pants like
I just want to say you can use this as an ad. The United West, we make jihad fun.
On that note, we'll see you. Take